Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition for Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Kimberley Hoeppner, and today is March 9th, 2015. And when we're not on air, you can always visit our website at www.arh.noaa.gov or just type in weather.gov and click on the map destination of your choice. And don't forget, you can reach our social media via our webpage on the social bar at the top of the web page. You can find the options for Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Now, we can also be reached on our 1-800-472-0391 weather information line. And now we're going to head on to the weather across the state, but first let's touch on the important areas today with the hazards across the northeastern Beaufort Seacoast, where there's a blizzard warning out, and this is in effect until Tuesday at 6 a.m. and this is for blowing snow conditions between 30 and 40 miles per hour, and we're also expecting reduced visibilities down to 1/4 mile at times. Now, just off here to the west, we have this yellow area highlighted for a winter weather advisory for blowing snow, reducing visibilities down to about 1/2 mile or less at times, with gusty winds around 25 to 35 miles per hour. And this will be continuing and then expiring just around midnight tonight. Now heading on to the satellite views, looking out towards the western areas of the Bering. Not much going on, but we do have a low pressure system that's situated just across the central areas of the Aleutians, and mainly just moisture all across the Bering brings some snow showers and a mix of snow and rain showers across the central Aleutians, and we'll get to the surface maps in just a moment. But as you can see, there's no real large circulations out there towards the west, and the main focus is just along the central area of the Aleutians, where we have a plume of moisture from low pressure in this area. No well-defined areas across the state, just a weak troughing with an offshore flow pattern brings some clearer skies, and you can really see that across the Kenai Peninsula and western areas of the Bering. Across the southeast, we have some moisture still trying to stream in and some snow showers across a very weak low center that's just situated across the southern areas of the state. So putting this into motion, you can see the moisture across the Bering just slowly shifting to the east. And once again, that area of low pressure is just near Yakutat. This afternoon brings some snow showers. This is the map from the afternoon. Low pressure system is about 1,012 millibars during the late afternoon hours. And here's just some weak showers moving in across the southeast with some snow showers across the inner channels. Some snow is a little bit further to the north across the eastern areas of the Alaska Range, and then across the interior areas of the state, drying out mainly all the way across towards the west coast. So we do have the snow showers continuing across the trough along the northeast, and this is a tight pressure gradient sitting here just to the north, and that's what's causing the gustier conditions, just some low pressure to the south and weak high pressure to the north. Now we also have this ridging. The larger area of ridging is out across the Bering, so this is nudging over towards the east and also causing the pressure gradient to become very tight on the backside of this low pressure system in the Gulf. So here we have another tight gradient across the south central areas, and this is causing some very strong offshore flow, especially across the Barren Islands into the western areas of the Gulf. Now across Across the Aleutians, we have the low pressure system with an occluded front. Very cold temperatures wrapping around to the backside of this low pressure system has mainly brought all snow across the Aleutian chain during the afternoon hours and the southern areas of the Bering. And just to the south, it's slightly warmer, so the rain is staying well south of the chain this afternoon. For tonight, however, this low pressure system will begin to start deteriorating, and we might see some mix of rain and snow across the Aleutians, still expecting mostly snow conditions as this is beginning to weaken during the overnight time frame. Now the low pressure system off to the southeast will also begin to shift further to the east, and that will bring some isolated to scattered shower activity across the central and eastern areas of the Gulf and along the coast there, and snow showers will continue across the southeast, mainly bringing 1 to 3 inches, with possible 4-inch accumulations occurring over at Yakutat before that comes to an end. The snow showers will continue across the eastern Beaufort coast, but should begin to taper off across the central areas as we head towards midnight, and then we should see that advisory across that area expire on time. Across the western areas of the state, very quiet conditions until you get down towards the western areas of the Gulf, and across the south central areas, we'll see an increase in winds as the gradient begins to become very tightly packed all around the central and western areas of the Gulf. So offshore flow will increase between 25 to 35 miles per hour, with gusts up to 45 miles per hour, especially for areas like Thompson Pass and west winds out of the Prince William Sound area near Whittier and the Seward area along the eastern Kenai. Now we'll still see a continued gustier wind along this low pressure system that stays just south of the chain as well tonight, and then winds will still continue with the gradient very tight between the high pressure to the north there and low pressure just sitting to the south of the Gulf of Alaska. Snow shower activity might make it along the southern areas of the Gulf, but for the most part, the state is going to be under a very dry pattern with ridging becoming centered across the central areas of the Brooks Range. So quiet conditions here will bring snow showers primarily to an end across the north, and then across the western areas we should see plenty of sunshine. This kind of drying pattern will allow you to get your vehicles washed if you're looking for a break. Most of the state is going to see this break through your Tuesday. The southeast, however, will see some light shower activity, snow to the north and a little bit of rain showers to the south, so they might hang on to a few showers during the morning time, but that colder air mass is going to work in, and the drier air mass will work in there as well. Now, as we head into your Wednesday forecast, not much of a change through your midweek conditions, with the offshore flow continuing to be very gusty along the coastal areas. Now low pressure from the southeastern areas of the Gulf will start creeping up towards, with a warm front creeping into the Dixon entrance area. With the colder temperatures across most of the southeast, they'll see some snow showers, and we'll have to watch this system to see how much northerly progression it has, because the system might continue northward and then towards the west as we head in towards the end of the week. So keep an eye on that system. That's the only system that's in sight for bringing any kind of accumulations of rain or snowfall. The rest of the state on Wednesday will be in a drier pattern, mostly clear skies all across the south, and also a drier pattern except for some showers due to instability across the Bering. Now taking a look at your temperatures for today, the entire state saw temperatures fall down into the 20s, mainly across the Gulf waters, and down into the mid-30s and mid-40s across the southeast, with the highest temperature there over at Annette Island this afternoon, making it up to 48 degrees. Very cold temperatures in the single digits, mainly across central areas, and to the north along the Arctic coast. They saw temperatures ranging from just above freezing to just below freezing. Along the Brooks Range was slightly warmer to the east there, but very cold as you wrap around to the northwest, with temperatures only just near zero when you get south of the Seward Peninsula. Across the southwest, they experience very cold temperatures as well in the single digits, with teens noted across the Alaska Peninsula. The Bering Sea saw mostly temperatures in the 20s, except this area where the frontal boundary sits, with temperatures reaching up into the mid-30s to near 40 near Adak and Atka. And then for your temperatures for tonight, we're going to see those temperatures staying right in the teens across the Bering. Cooler overnight, just mainly in the mid to lower 30s across the chain, and the Alaska Peninsula will see temperatures ranging in the upper teens to lower 20s. Across the Gulf of Alaska, temperatures will range mainly between 5 degrees below 0 to 5 degrees above, with slightly warmer temperatures right along the Gulf. The southeast will range in the upper 20s to lower 30s. And then across the rest of the state, much lower temperatures ranging from minus 15 degrees to minus 30 degrees if you're just along the northern slope areas. And then your temperatures aren't going to get much warmer as we head in your day tomorrow. We'll see temperatures slightly warmer across the southeast, with a range between the mid 30s to upper 30s, and along the Gulf mainly in the upper teens to lower 20s. The central interior still at 1 below or minus 15 to 20 below. If you're along the north towards the Seward Peninsula, a slow warming trend down through the southwest. And then we'll have very consistent temperatures across the Alaska Peninsula in the mid-20s, all across the southern Bering, mid-30s across the central areas of the Aleutians. Now your flying weather for tomorrow, mainly MVFR conditions will improve through the day across the eastern Bering, and then main concerns will linger across the central and eastern area of the Aleutians, and some possible MVFR ceilings in the morning across the western areas as snow showers continue across the south, areas of MVFR there, and across the central interior and along the northeastern coast. As we head into the afternoon, they should see improvement there. Now looking at your passes in more depth, Anaktuvik Pass will be at VFR, as well as Adigan Pass tomorrow should also be VFR. Most of the state is going to see VFR, like Clark and Merrill Pass, with the clear skies. It's going to be a good day for flying for most of you. Now Rainy Pass will be VFR, and also VFR at Windy Pass, and Isabel Pass will be MVFR, but clearing quickly to VFR through the day. And Mentasta, as that low pressure system moves off, goes to VFR, and Tanita Pass will be VFR. And then we'll see Chilkoot and White Pass, just a moment, my system there, sorry, onto Portage Pass, VFR, and we'll see Chilkoot and White Pass possibly stay MVFR through most of the day as the low pressure system shifts over them. Now the freezing levels for tomorrow morning, the surface freezing level will drape across the southern areas of the Bering and across the southern areas of the Gulf of Alaska, with a 2,000 to 4,000 foot level well to the south near the Dixon entrance. Now your icing tomorrow, a little bit of concern during the morning hours below 10,000 feet across the eastern areas and central areas of the Gulf, below 4,000 feet just across a little bit of the interior, and then below 6,000 feet across much of the Bering, mostly during the morning time, and then some moderate conditions possibly lingering across the frontal area. Now the jet stream here, we have a very long wave trough amplifying over the eastern areas of the Aleutians, with a southerly jet stream between 85 to 100 knots across the southern areas of the state. Very light winds across the northern areas, a northerly flow setting up and continuing out of the west across the Gulf waters. Here's that next low pressure system just to the south of Kodiak Island. Across the Bering areas, we have mostly a northerly flow, with the strongest flow around the low pressure system south of the central Aleutians. Now for tomorrow, that system is shifting slightly to the east, and we'll see that northerly flow increase across areas of the central Bering, and then northerly flow again across the state with the lightest winds along the north as the ridging moves a little bit more into the central areas of the north coast. Now looking at the turbulence to sum everything up, well, the main turbulent areas are going to be along the front in the central areas of the Bering, and we'll see some widespread conditions just across the central and a little bit into the western areas of the Aleutians around 6,000 feet. Now in just a moment, we'll be back with your marine forecast.
Good evening, everybody. I am Mary O'Connor, and I'm with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation. Thanks to the support of the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health and Alaska Public Media for allowing us to bring you hangar flying. This evening, we are pleased to have Jenny Sandlin back on our show. Jenny is an air traffic controller with the Anchorage Air Route Traffic Control Center. She is also part of the Alaska Region Safety Outreach Team. Jenny, welcome back to Hangar Flying.
Hi.
The Alaska Region Safety Outreach Program was started several years ago, and you're part of this team.
I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about how this program came about?
We are just entering our third year now. This was started 3 years ago by Kent Peterson, the district manager, terminal district manager, and at that time Larry Liskanek, the regional vice president for NATCA. And what they identified was that air traffic had lost its touch with the public out here, the flying community, and we really weren't open to the flying public to be able to communicate just all the questions that come up. So that's really where it started.
Can you tell us about the goals of the program and what you've done and what you hope to do?
Sure. So the goal of the program is really to open the lines of communications right at the base level, right between controllers and pilots directly. So pilots aren't having to email questions or go through management layers and all that. We can just speak directly face to face about our concerns, the different problems that we're seeing. We started working with more of our local, our regional type operators, ERA, Hagland, Ace Air, all those guys. We started attending their ground schools. They would invite us in and we'd go attend their ground schools and do a 3 to 4 hour briefing. We really didn't know what to expect initially. We thought we'd go in for about an hour discussion, and it was 4 hours before we got out of there. I mean, the questions kept coming and kept coming. So, but that's really the basis for the group, is to just open those lines of communications and be able to talk with one another about these things that you can't talk about on the frequency.
Well, obviously there's a need if you end up spending 4 hours
Yes.
addressing questions
Yes.
that you probably might not have known were out there unless you had been in place.
Right.
So you are going to commercial operators. Do you also work with general aviation pilots?
That's been tougher for us, is to getting to the general aviation community, because they don't group up for schools and stuff like that like our operators have. We have been attending like the seaplane base seminar. We've gone to the Valdez Air Show. We've gone to the FedEx trade show now several years in a row. So we have a booth there, and we do talk with a lot of general aviation pilots at the Great Alaska Gathering.
And last Wednesday there was an event where there was an open forum. There were flight instructors and general aviation pilots were invited, and there was also a tour option for touring through Center. Were you involved with that, and what was the reception with that like?
I was. That was actually started by the FAST team and Mike York, and they asked if we would provide, the type briefing that we've been doing for the carriers for the general public. And so yes, we hosted an event at Anchorage Center. It was supposed to be a 2-hour window. We ended up going almost 3. But yes, folks came out. We brought controller from Anchorage Tower, the Tracon from Merrill Tower, so we had all of us right there face to face. So no matter where they fly and who they're talking to, they've got a controller there that they can ask their questions. We gave a presentation, and with just some general topics that we see happening quite a bit, like the cold temperature procedures. That's new to us up here. So we talked about that, and just some little things that you just don't get that opportunity to talk about. And yes, they had an opportunity to go tour the operational floor and see what it looks like behind the mic.
That's great. I didn't realize that was an option with security issues as they are these days.
It's gotten easier over the last few years. Pilots can get tours of the ATC facilities. They just need to call in advance. We like at least a 24-hour notice. We try to keep it Monday through Friday, business-like hours, and they'll need a US ID. But yeah, it's definitely possible.
Great. If there was one piece of advice that you could give to pilots in Alaska as an outreach team member, what would that piece of advice be?
I would say if it doesn't sound right, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. The controllers on the other side of the mic they're just people, just like the pilots, and if something doesn't sound right, ask.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for sharing this information about the Safety Outreach Program and the opportunities it provides to improve communications. And we really appreciate your time. We look forward to learning about your job with Anchorage Center on our next hangar flying. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching Hangar Flying. Please remember us when you apply for your permanent fund dividend and pick Click Give. For federal workers out there, remember us in the combined federal campaign this year. Until next time, fly safely.
And now on to our marine weather portion. We have the ice edge that's just across the central or northern areas of the Bering, and we're expecting possible growth between 20 to 30 nautical miles to the southwest. So we're expecting this to grow with the colder temperatures that are going to be settling in. Also across the Cook Inlet, pay attention to areas here as we're expecting new ice to start filling into the Cook Inlet as we head through the next few days. Now on to the southeastern areas forecast. We'll mainly see a northerly flow for your Tuesday forecast with some small craft winds up there near the northern Lynn Canal, and seas will be between 3 to 5 feet across the inner channels, and then the outer waters will be between 9 and 10 feet. Now on Wednesday, expect a change of direction to the north-northeast across the outer waters here, and then northerly flow across much of the inner channels except down near the Dixon entrance where they'll see more of a southeasterly flow. And then inner channels will be 5-foot seas for Wednesday, and then across the outer waters between 7 and 9 feet. Heading over to the western areas of the Gulf, we'll see mainly 15 to 20 knot wind across the northern areas and Prince William Sound, and then across the Kodiak Island, Barren Islands, mainly small crafts here at 25 knots, and then we'll see 35 knots just to the west of the Barren Islands. Cook Inlet will be lighter between 10 and 20 knots, all northerly flow. Will also cause some freezing spray in areas. Even across the southeast, we'll see some freezing spray possibilities for your Tuesday forecast. And we'll also see higher gusty conditions through the midweek across the south central locations with 15 to 10 knots across the northern areas of the Gulf, higher gusts, especially out of the Copper River Delta, and then across the Barren Islands, 20 to 25 knots there, and then small crafts around Kodiak Island. The Cook Inlet again will be between 10 and 20, 25 higher when you get to the southern Cook Inlet areas. Seas across Prince William Sound, the northern Cook Inlet where it's ice-free, it'll be between 2 and 3 feet, and then across the northwestern Gulf of Alaska between 4 to 5 foot seas and 8 foot near Kodiak Island on both sides, and 9 foot seas across the western areas of the Barren Islands, and the southern Cook Inlet at 6 feet. Now looking at your Tuesday forecast, small craft advisory out of the north for the Alaska Peninsula, 5 to 9 foot seas on your Bering side and 7 to 10 feet across the Pacific side. Heading into your Wednesday, not much change here, northerly direction in the winds and small craft across the area again, with seas between 5 to 9 feet and 12 to 13 feet across the Pacific. Looking at your Aleutian chain for tomorrow, we have many gales across the central and eastern areas of the Bering, and we'll see seas ranging between 13 to 15 feet across the chain, with the highest seas and the strongest winds right around the central Aleutians. As we head into your day on Wednesday, change of direction out towards the western Aleutians, becoming gale along the Shimia area, and just towards the east, we're going to see small craft for the rest of the area, and seas on this day will be between 10 and 13 feet, and the Pacific side will be between 13 and 14 feet. Looking across your west coast for Tuesday, we'll see a wind increase as you head towards the central areas of the Bering at 25 knots, small craft advisories 5 to 8 feet to the south and around 3 foot across the northern waters. And then the rest is ice covered. And then a northerly flow continues on Wednesday with small craft advisories across the southern areas. Seas here will be between 6 and 7 feet with 3-foot seas just to the north. And then look for a Tuesday forecast, lighter winds across the northwest down towards Kotzebue Sound, variable in direction. And then we have a stronger wind for the eastern areas of the Beaufort Sea between 20 and 30 knots, brisk there off to the east. And then on Wednesday, change of direction across the Chukchi Sea between 5 and 10 knots out of the southwest, becoming northwest as you head towards Kotzebue Sound, out of the west across the eastern areas of the Beaufort Sea. Now let's recap your forecast for tonight. We have low pressure system bringing snow to the Yakutat area and scattered snow showers and numerous snow showers across the southeast with possible isolated rain showers to the south. Central areas of the state are going to be drying out except for the very northeastern corridor where we have an advisory for winter weather and also a blizzard warning for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast will be expiring around 6 a.m. on Tuesday. This low pressure system out here in the Aleutians is going to be continuing to bring more rain and rain to the south, snow to the north into the southern Bering through your day on Tuesday. And then we'll see strong gusty winds continuing across the western areas of the Gulf of Alaska, and then gustier northerly winds picking up across the southeast, drier across the state and drying conditions along the north. And as we head into your Wednesday, the coldest day of the week is going to occur on Wednesday for all of the area except for this warm front moving up into the southeast where they're going to be seeing a mix of rain and snow showers. So expect gusty flow through midweek with dry conditions across the mainland. Have a great night. It's good to spend the time with you.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.